So what do you get when you take a, I don't know, sixth grade level semi-awkward teenager and make a show about him? Well, you get Doug, of course. And everyone who grew up in the 90s remembers Doug. It was a great show. You know, characters that you may or may not probably could actually relate to, depending on who you are, of course. And if you had an alter ego that was called Quail Man. But anyway, like anything popular in TV show or movie format, with the exception of GoldenEye 64, the gaming industry, or rather the company, tries to use the gaming industry to cash in on it and creates an utter and total failure. This is such a case. You may recall I promised to do a review of this game months ago, but it never showed up. I forgot what game I did instead, but I didn't review Doug's Big Game. Just simply because this game is so awful that I couldn't bring myself to make fun of it, much in the same way you can't make fun of some people because that would be just wrong of you to make fun of them. This game it's terrible. It's awful. Even fun in games, depending on your age, you might get some blind enjoyment out of this, but Doug's Big Game is just random and frustrating, and like, to review a game, you actually have to progress in it, but with this one, you cannot progress in the game. And so this is Doug's game. We're going to review it today. Alright, so Jumbo Pictures, grade A quality. Somehow I doubt that. Also, I've never heard of New Kid Co., and if this game is any indication of their game-making ability, that's probably the reason why I've never heard of them. Okay, hopefully I got the sound right and you can hear this, but just listen to how awful that title screen music sounds. It sounds like they used a chorus of farting ducks to make the title screen music, and it is awful. Also note that there's about one sound channel in this game, so the sound from the cursor moving actually cancels out the sound of the music, so you can't have them playing at once. Okay, so the game starts out, no matter where it starts you out, you start at a random location at any given time you start this game. It starts out with Doug, who's lost, looking for Patty, and for some reason he asks Porkchop for advice, and Porkchop's just like, "Hey, I'm a dog, you moron, I can't give you advice because I can't talk." Regardless, Doug was supposed to meet Patty, and she's late, and he freaks out like he always did in the show. And you assume, I use the term lightly, that the objective of the game is to find out where Patty is, why she ditched you, and make sure she's not laying in a ditch somewhere. Unfortunately, the game gives you no possible idea of how to do this, other than by telling you she's probably with Guy. Now, I seem to recall a Guy in the show, but I just don't remember. Anyway, you walk around this map talking to people and picking up coins, and you try to find out where Patty is. Now, you have your world map here, where you can pick a different area to go to. Most of them based off the show, which is one semi-good thing, is that they tried to use locations from the show. Unfortunately, they're all poorly represented, and there's no real flavor at all. Look at that. Doug's sprite is almost twice the height. Well, I won't say twice, but he's at a 1-to-1 ratio with the house. That's ridiculous, and I'll show you that some more later. Also, collision detection in these areas is very, very sloppily done. In fact, they have the projection effect, as I like to call it, in some places. Like where there's an object and you actually can't stand on the tile next to it because the collision from that object has projected itself forward. Also, there's some guy there, you talk to him, he doesn't tell you anything useful. The conversations in this game are all dead. You just talk to people and Doug brushes them off. Like, if he really wanted to find Patty, he could ask them, "Hey, where's Patty at? Tell me, you moron, I know you kidnapped her." Also, I'd just like to point out that the Swirly's ice cream shop is in the middle of a park, which doesn't make sense. Swirly's was downtown, at least as far as I remember. Look at that, he's as big as the house. And, I mean, there's just no other games with sprites. I know it's 2D, but they made it look like you had 3D depth to your character. This is not. It just looks like you're moving a piece of paper across another piece of paper. I mean, Doug looks just like he's laying on top of stuff. And look how he walks. Why does his head bob like that? Also, Porkchop walks like a human. He's a dog. Shouldn't he walk on all fours? Also, another thing, why would a city park have a hedge maze in it? I don't remember the Doug show saying anything about a hedge maze. That's terrible. You can see this isn't my usual review style. Usually I'm slow and sarcastic, but this game just infuriates me to no end, and there's just so many things that are terrible I have to comment on. I can't slow down to not talk about them. Look, I can't even walk in there. There's plenty of space, but I can't go in there because of how terrible the collision detection is. Also, what's a payphone doing out here? And he calls Mr. Bone. He's looking for Patty Mayonnaise, and he calls Mr. Bone. Every time you use this phone, he gets a wrong number. So what's the point? Can he not remember Patty's number? Can he not just dial the right thing? If they should have made it where you had to find a number before you